Well, hello, and thank you for joining me in today's training session. We're looking at data management still and looking at building a price list inside Sage CRM. So this is the administration that sits behind the whole quotes and orders feature. And you can see that we're moving through the different topics, understanding how everything is starting to fit together. And we're going to revise a little bit about the idea of product configuration as well in this lesson, because it all relates ultimately to that experience, as we talked about on the idea of using quotes and orders. Specifically, this topic is all about covering the knowledge needed to understand how to build a price list for the products feature inside Sage CRM. And if you want to start to understand everything, we have to start actually using the process of creating a quote or an order using the price list information that is configured within the system. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to log on as a user. Here you can see that I'm logging on as a sales user, Susan May, in the demo system. And so I've just arrived looking at the dashboard. And from here, I need to go off and start to find an existing quote. And I need to go and find one of our quotes. And there we are. I'll go and find pick one of those, and here we go, looking at one that we are familiar with from when we were looking at product configuration. Here you can see that this has set up to use a particular currency and a particular price list. The availability, we're going to see in a moment how the availability of the currency is linked in to the price list. So working with a particular currency will determine which price lists are suitable, and in fact which price lists we use will determine what currencies we can sell in. But if we're going to do anything, we need to understand what that role of the price list is, and we can start to start the process of creating a quote for ourselves. So I've just clicked to come up to the level of the opportunity, and I'm going to look at the existing quotes page, so I can now click on the new to start that process. Again, there's a currency in which we're working with, currency in which the company is being sold, or the opportunity is linked to that. We can choose a price list, and we can choose to give this a description. Now, if I start that process of choosing a price list, this price list is going to determine the products that are available. There is a matrix that we will see that ties in the products with the currency and the availability of units of measure. Now I've chosen the partner price list, so if I choose next, that's going to determine everything that we experience. So where we've come into looking at the new item for the quote, this product family that I select now is going to determine which products are available and which units of measure are appropriate for the item that we're selling. This is all part of this configuration of the price list. So we've got to look at this specifically now. So I've just chosen there to work with a single pack of licenses for this particular software that's being sold in this context of the demo data. I'll choose save, and I can see that the quotation is all set up. Now, that's taken me so far. If I focus in on this, The pricing list is the item that determines the availability of the pricing list is the field that determines the availability of each of the items that can be sold, because it ties in to which product is on the pricing list. If it's not on there, it can't be sold. And that's tied to the currency as well. So we'll look at how all this is controlled in a moment. Now, to do that, we have to switch over to look as the system administrator. So here I am as a system administrator. I'm logging on, and once I've logged on, I can go up to my menu, choose administration, and then come down into data management. Of course, everything that we're looking at the moment is within the context of data management. So here I am, administration, data management, and then notice that we can go into our products, and we've got in here different options that we can select. So let's start off by reminding ourselves of the product configuration. Now here, as we look at our product configuration, do you notice how that there are a number of fields that are controlling the appearance of certain features? We've looked, I'll come back to this slide in a moment, but as we look here, do you see we've got use pricing lists, use units of measure, we have got those two items, and as well as the available currencies that we're going to be using. Now, inside Sage CRM, we divide the concept of pricing into simple level pricing or complex pricing. If you want to use simple pricing, you're really only thinking in terms of the products and the product families, in addition to the currencies that you're selling in. So it always uses a single price list, which is the default price list, that is most suitable for when you are working in a single type of market with a very simple single currency orientation. So simple product pricing is where you aren't having to worry about anything to do with the sophistication of units of measure and building a price list matrix. So products, product families, single price list only. Inside complex product pricing, which I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you this now in this, we're going to be using all of the features of grouping products within a product family using the concept of a unit of measure and a unit of measure category or family to create a price list matrix. And this is where it gets complex, because this is all fitting in to the idea of which currencies are we using and which and whether or not we're configured to use the other items like the units of measure and the pricing lists. So where do we start off with this? Well, we start off actually by looking at each of these in turn. So first of all, we will set up a price list. We'll think about this. Normally, when you look at tabs, it begs the idea that you start at the left-hand side of the screen and you work across. With product configuration, it's better to start with the idea that you control everything at the level of starting with the product configuration screen, then think about price lists, then units of measure, then the product families, and then start to build the product. So you're actually moving from right to left. So what we've got is our different price lists. You can see that it's not much more than sophisticated than saying a new price list and then giving it a name. A unit of measure is the next thing that we would consider, and this is going to have levels underneath it. We'll come to look at that in a second. And then once we've done that, we think about the product family and then the products within that. So that's the order in which everything is built. Going back then is we have to build our complex product pricing matrix. To do this, I'm going to create a new whole structure. I'm actually going to, I think, reuse one of these existing price lists. I'm going to think about using the retail price list for this. So I don't need to create a new one, but if I did want to examine one, you can see that this is essentially very, very simple to do. There are 3 fields. You need to give it a name, a description, and then whether or not the price list is going to be active or not. Here, you can see I'm looking at the structure of the existing partner price list. That's not the one that I'm going to use, though. Let's come on to units of measure. I want to be able to sell subscriptions to new online software. So I need to define for myself a unit of measure to do this. So what you start by doing is creating a unit of measure family or category. And here you can see you've got, again, 3 very simple fields. It's a name, a description, and then whether or not it's being used. It's active or not. So here I've called this subscription, and I'm saying that this is for cloud-based subscriptions. Time-based subscriptions. This is because there are different forms of subscription management, of course, you can have. But I'm using this as time-based subscription, and I'm going to just choose save. So I now have a new unit of measure family. Now, as I sell the subscriptions, those subscriptions are going to be sold in different ways. Am I going to be selling this on the basis of selling it as a single, selling on the basis of a single month or a single quarter or an annual subscription? So I need to go and set these up. Setting up one is, well, basically setting it up for all of the others. It's going to be very simple. Here, I'm going to choose this and say, well, this is a monthly subscription with a monthly charge, and it's 1 month at a time. I'm going to save that, and I can repeat that for the quarterly and for the annual. Now, I'm not going to fill those in for you and just take those as read, but you can see here that what we've done is I've created up a monthly and a quarterly and an annual, and the units then that are in here indicating that the unit of measure contains within it 1 month, 3 months, 12 months. It's a bit like it could well have been on the basis of selling a pallet or a carton or a half pallet, or however we wanted to sell the items that we're dealing with in the context of the orders. So if we go back onwards where we're looking here, I've come into looking now at the product families, and I'm going to go then into start to create my own product family. So I'm going to give this, the new subscription that I'm creating, a name. So I'm going to call this, this is the cloud series and the cloud based access. That's the description. And so that's the product family, and every type of subscription that I sell underneath here is going to be listed as part of the product family. Now I'll save that, and you can see that I've got for my product no existing products defined here, and this is where we need to go now onto the idea of the product matrix. This is where it becomes a little complex to actually visualize what's going on. So we have here all of the different products, but the products have to be brought into a position where we are using the product within a price list, currency, etc. So all of these have to be then used. So if I start to choose new, this is where we start to create and say, this is the product that we're selling. Now, in my case, I'm selling this idea of Time X online, some software that is going to be accessed online. The product code is a description. And here you can see I can choose the appropriate product family to which it belongs. So I choose my cloud cloud series services, and then I choose this. As you can see, the unit of measure is listed as subscription. So I can now save that. This produces for me this matrix. Do you see how we've got a matrix of the different price lists that are available, and we've got the different currencies that go back onto the configuration screen. I can change this, and this will start to determine where the product can be sold in terms of the price list and the currency. So I've opened this up, I've clicked change, and I've got my pricing list, default, pricing list, partner, retail. Well, it's retail I'm interested in. And so I'm just going to provide some pricing for one of these features. So we've got pricing for our monthly, quarterly, and annual for each of the currencies of US dollars, euros, and British pounds. So those are the currencies that we're selling in. And if I choose save, we can see that they're the only active elements that we can use. So this means that I could only sell this subscription-based software in the context of the retail price list. Let's click on the next thing, which is to go back onto product families, and we can now see how our cloud products are listed here underneath the product families. And if we go into the product family, we can see that price list entry, the product listed here, and that gives us a link into the matrix that we have just built up. So how does this work? How will now the user experience what I've just defined? Well, we need to go and use that new product, and we can do that by switching back into the user screen. So I've switched back here, looking at Sage CRM, looking as Susan May, and I can now go and create a new quote. I'm using this directly underneath the new quote option. You can see that I've chosen my company, and I can go and start to select the price list that I want, which is the retail price list. Give the description here. I'm working, as you can see here, with the currency of GB pounds as well. And if I save that, I can now go on and add an item into my quote. So the quote item here, I choose my product family, choose my cloud services, I choose my product, and I can then choose the unit of measure that I want and the quantity of those subscriptions that I'm selling. And so that allows me to create a new quote order line, so a quote item or an order item using that product, drawing from the price list that we have. Now, in the next lesson, we're going to develop this a little bit further. And what we'll do is we will see how the currency data can also be configured and used. And then we'll go on and develop all of the ideas that we've looked in understanding forecast configuration. So I hope that you've started to get a sense of how everything is meshing together, from the product configuration and the price lists and then currency. And we'll be able to explore that in our next lesson. Let's see if anyone has got any questions. Thank you and goodbye.